Can you believe it is 2023? I had the realisation yesterday that I turned 30 years old next year. 30 years old next year. That's terrifying. I do not feel old enough to be 30. In my brain, I'm still like 17. The time moves so fast. But anyway, hello, Happy New Year, welcome to 2023, and welcome to my 2022 worst to best book rating video. I'm basically gonna rank every single book I read in 2022 from worst to best, give you a short, like 1-line, 2-line review, and you guys can argue with me in the comments. Hi. You come to join me? Rhubarb, the co-host, just comes squeaking. She doesn't meow, she squeaks. It's very cute. Do you want to come sit on my lap? No, you just want to sit on the floor and stare at me angrily? Okay, that's fine. You do you. So, I am fighting against the clock here. I was meant to film this an hour and a half ago, but I am so tired today. I literally cannot keep my eyes open. So I went and lay down for a 20-minute nap and then woke up an hour and a half later, and it's now 2 o'clock, which means the sun's going to be coming in soon, and I don't know if I have enough time to film this, but I'm going to give it my best shot. So sorry if the lighting gets progressively darker throughout this. Oh, here we go. Here she comes. Right, Rhubarb, if you want to be part of this video, you need to behave yourself, okay? You've got to sit quietly. So in total last year, I read 56 books. Now, a few of these are part of like series. And I'm not going to speak about like every book in the series because in my mind they like count as one. So there's not going to be 56 in this list, but I'm going to group together the series, if that makes sense. What's proper English there? Series. It's a good job I run a book channel, isn't it? But anyway, without any further ado, let's get into it. So the worst book, absolute trash book that I read last year that I hate with every fibre of my being, The Power by Naomi Alderman. This is a book about a world in which women have suddenly found themselves with all the power. It's touted as a feminist novel, but it is just plain misogynistic. The Incendiaries by R.O. Kwon, the blurb here makes promises of cults and North Korea, and it sounds really interesting, and it doesn't follow through on any of those promises until the last 30 pages. Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro is a sci-fi dystopia that left me feeling stupider than when I started it. The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware tries really, really hard to make you care about a mystery that you just don't care about. Also, a claustrophobic person's absolute nightmare. Normal People by Sally Rooney, 2 words, just communicate. Just communicate. All of the problems in the book could have been solved if they just spoke to each other. Must Love Silence by Lucy Beckley, actually a really cute sapphic romance, but just way too many continuity errors for me to rank it any higher than this. Dolores by Lauren Amy Curtis is just too short for you to actually come to care about any of the characters. Her Every Fear by Peter Swanson is an anxiety-diagnosed person's nightmare. It is all of my anxieties put down into paper, but not in a good way. The Catch by T.M. Logan is 2 men fighting over the honour of a woman without ever actually checking in with her what she wants and what her feelings are. Misogynistic. The Girl Before by J.P. Delaney, yet another man who refuses to go to therapy and makes it womankind's problem. Haven't They Grown by Sophie Hannah is a fascinating premise for a mystery thriller with a very unsatisfying conclusion. The Girl Who Came Out of the Woods by Emily Barr, you spend most of the book wondering what the hell's going on, I hate this is awful, I have no clue what's happening, and then weirdly it does all come together at the end. The Perfect Girlfriend by Karen Hamilton is just fine. It's a woman stalking her ex-boyfriend, but you as the reader, you don't know the full story. Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata, 2 hours of intense anxiety and discomfort. Impressive writing to make you feel that way, but still uncomfortable. Lonely Hearts by Lisa Gray, a private investigator gets tasked with the job of finding a killer. It's good, but it's pretty forgettable. Love Murder by Saul Black is the sequel to my favourite psychological thriller of all time, Killing Lessons. It doesn't quite live up, it's very dark and disturbing, depends who you ask whether that's a good thing. The DCI Robert Kett series by Alex Smith, this is a UK-based police procedural series, all found on Kindle Unlimited. It's not groundbreaking storytelling, but it's solidly enjoyable. Red at the Bone by Jacqueline Woodson, a tale of generational trauma and motherhood, but very heavy on the trauma. The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green. This is a collection of essays about things that John Green finds interesting, and it's great as long as you find those things interesting too. Kim Ji-young, born 1982, by Chu Nam-ju. An exploration of what it's like to be a Korean woman / any woman, complete with real life data and statistics. It's a fiction, non-fiction mix. The Vanishing Act of Esme Lennox by Maggie O'Farrell. The story of a woman who has been trapped in an asylum for 60 years and she comes out to be greeted by a long lost relative. A story about whether or not Esme really deserved to be there. This one wins the award for most shocking ending of the year. The Perfect Wife by J.P. Delaney. Sci-fi, but it doesn't tell you that anywhere on the outside of the book, and I hate sci-fi. Weirdly misogynistic, but also undeniably gripping. You'll Be the Death of Me by Karen M. McManus is the same as every other Karen McManus book. A group of teenagers trying to solve a mystery. You've got solid storylines, good characters, you know what you're going to get. She is Too Pretty to Burn by Wendy Hurd. Group of murderous teenagers, but make it gay. Fault Lines by Emily Atami is about a Japanese woman wondering if the grass is greener on the other side. This is a very depressing read, but also very real. It really hits you where it hurts. I Kiss Shara Wheeler by Casey McQuiston. This is Paper Towns, but for the gays. This was Casey McQuiston's first foray into the YA genre, but she does do adult better. The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. Two identical twins go on to lead completely different lives, with one of them going on to pass as white. It's historical fiction exploring what it means to pass in society. Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens is good, but would have been better off as two novels, one with Kaya the Marsh Girl and one with the murder mystery. If You Still Recognise Me by Cynthia So, a YA novel about being queer, about being Chinese in Britain, about fandom. It's very cute, but even cuter if you relate on a personal level to any of those things. It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I've had a very weird journey with this one. I actually really enjoyed it at the time I read it. I gave it 5 stars. But the more I've reflected on it, the more I dislike it. The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. This is a great mystery. You've got a missing man in a small apartment block in Paris where the residents of all 5 apartments make very eclectic suspects. The Maidens by Alex Michaelides, a dark academia murder mystery that doesn't make the reader feel stupid. Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. It feels like the author took a lot of real life inspirations for the crime that she depicts in this novel. It's very dark, it feels very real, it's heartbreaking. Definitely not one for the faint-hearted. The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. A woman tries to end her own life and ends up faced with all the alternative realities that she could have lived if she'd made different choices. For me personally, this came at exactly the right time in my life. The Family Remains by Lisa Jewell is the sequel to The Family Upstairs. Very rarely are sequels done in the mystery thriller genre without feeling very convoluted and overthought. Lisa Jewell does it really, really well here. It's a great continuation. Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail by Ashley Herring Blake. Uptight, type A personality Astrid Parker meets falling apart Jordan Everwood. This is an enemies to lovers. It is so spicy, so juicy, so good. It Started With a Kiss by Claire Lydon. A sapphic couple are fated to be together after a very steamy first kiss and they agreed to never meet again, only of course they do. It's very up and down, but you know what, it really kept the pages turning. Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Record-breaking tennis champ Carrie Soto is faced with a younger player potentially taking over all of her titles, and she is determined not to let that happen. I don't care about tennis, it made me care about tennis. We've had Crumble come to join us now. She never comes to join when I'm filming. Hi, darling. Hi, you going to purr right into the microphone? Of course you are. Did You See Melody by Sophie Hannah? Goodbye. A young girl goes missing and her parents are imprisoned for her murder. But is she really dead? Told through interviews, transcripts, articles, a really quick and gripping read. You should make a drinking game of how often I'm having to pull my cardi back onto my shoulders. Sorry if that's annoying. Yerba Buena by Nina LaCour. A sapphic romance, more about the people than the romance. A real slow burn that brings 2 people together at the exact right time. Aristotle and Dante Dive Into the Waters of the World by Benjamin Elire Sainez. This is the sequel to Discover the Universe. Aristotle and Dante are now officially together as a couple and they're discovering what it means to be a gay couple in the world, whereabouts they fit in, and this is set in the 80s, so it covers some quite moving subjects. Kiss Her Once For Me by Alison Cochrane. This is a cheesy Christmas romance, a cheesy sapphic Christmas romance full of cliches and tropes like fake dating. It is awful and wonderful, and I unashamedly loved it. The Heartstopper series by Alice Oseman, this is a 4-part, soon to be 5-part graphic novel series about teenage boys, Nick and Charlie. They meet at school and they fall for each other. It is incredibly heartwarming, and these characters really burrow their way under your skin. Not My Problem by Kira Smith. This is a YA sapphic novel about the school clown, the school rebel and the school nerd falling for each other. It's a truly lovely read. It doesn't feature any trauma around coming out. It just is 2 girls falling for each other, dealing with the problems of regular teenage girls really, not the problems of being gay teenage girls. My Policeman by Bethan Roberts. Queer trauma. We're in Brighton back in the 1950s. Marion is obsessed with Tom and they eventually end up married, only Tom is in love with somebody else. He's in love with Patrick in a time when it's illegal to be gay. Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn, another dark entry from Gillian Flynn. You've got a small town, unexplained murders, weird rumours flying around, a dark, dark, dark murder mystery. Written in the Stars by Alexandria Belfleur. You've got opposite personalities, enemies to lovers, spicy as heck, it's cheesy, it's wonderful, it's your classic romance written for the sapphic women out there. Love List by Alice Oseman really feels what I feel is a niche within the LGBTQ books we've currently got available to us right now. Georgia is 18 years old, she's heading off to university and discovering that she thinks she's asexual, and this is a really cute story of friendship more than anything else, how important friendship is to everyone. Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe. This is historical fiction. Lily is coming to terms with being gay at the same time that she's figuring out the pressures of being Chinese American during the Red Scare in the USA. She feels that she has to be perfect in order to keep her family out of trouble, but inherently she's gay, she can't be perfect. This is another heartbreaking read, but it is so true. One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. This is another one that I didn't really love when I very first read it, but the characters here have really burrowed their way under my skin again, and I have not been able to stop thinking about it since the moment I read it. You have Jane, who's stuck on the New York subway in some sort of weird time loop, and 23-year-old, very cynical August, who falls in love and becomes determined to figure out what's going on. You've got the 1970s set against the 2020s. You've got historical queerness set against modern queerness. It's genius. And then we've got my number 1 favourite book of 2022. If you've been paying any attention, you know what I'm going to be saying next, and that's Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. Independent Delilah Green heads back to her very quiet hometown to photograph her stepsister's wedding. Only her and her stepsister are estranged. She doesn't get along with her family back home. But of course, once Delilah's there, she falls for her stepsister's maid of honour and a romance begins. But this book doesn't just focus on the romance, it focuses on all of the relationships with Delilah and the people around her, Delilah and the people back in her hometown. It unravels years of hurt and misunderstandings and miscommunications. It's really beautifully written. You've got those touching relationships, you've got that spicy romance, you've got the wonderful storytelling, just all round a 10 out of 10 really fantastic sapphic romance. And with that, we've come to an end, a ranking of every single book I read in 2022, and you know I'm going to do the same in 2023. I've set my reading goal this year as 60 books, which feels unreachable to me, but also another one of my goals is to get more into audiobooks, especially non-fiction audiobooks. I'm not a fan of fiction audiobooks, nor am I a fan of reading non-fiction, so I figured non-fiction audiobooks feels like a podcast. I'm giving it a go, and I've already listened to 2 non-fiction audiobooks, so apparently it's working, so that's why my goal is so high for 2023. Let me know down below what your goals are for this year. What was your least favourite and most favourite book of 2022? We can have a chat in the comments. I am going to have another video coming out next week where I talk to you about all the books I'm looking forward to reading in 2023, all the new releases coming out, so keep an eye out for that because I'm very excited about that one. And I will see you in the next one. Bye guys!